Hi, I'm David from Music, and today I'll be speaking with Jason Weber, author of Purple Bananas, How Prince Saved Me, and other selections from the soundtrack to my life. I hope you enjoy. Okay, hi Jason, thanks for coming today. We're covering your book that just came out, Purple Banana, which is a memoir on your life and your love affair, I guess, with Prince and his music and how it sort of guided you along the way. Thanks for talking to us. Great to have you.
It's great to be here, David. Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to ask you a couple questions. First of all, how's the launch gone? Like, how's everything been? It's obviously a very strange time to put a book out with no physical contact and all sorts going on in the world. How's it been?
Yeah. It's a very strange time to put a book out. What with the pandemic and everything, but I've managed. I mean, I've been able to do I was able to do a book release party virtually, and that was nice. I certainly wish that I could schedule like in-person readings and stuff. I think that would help. But the launch has actually been very very well received. I've sold a couple hundred copies of the book, and
Brilliant.
the reviews of the book have just been phenomenal. And so that's a really wonderful feeling.
That's great. Yeah, I think one thing from the book that stands out is just the way you bear all. You just really do just bear your heart on your sleeve and say exactly everything that's going through, even embarrassing memories and things growing up and blunders and mistakes you made to the better parts of your life. So I wanted to ask, the writing process obviously happened in the aftermath of Prince's passing. He passed away. And then you the events of the book lead up to that and then end just after. What sort of led you to start writing? What propelled you?
Well, in 2016, when Prince passed away, I mean, let's go back to 2016 for a minute. That was before 2020. That was the worst year on record in my life.
Mm,
You had Prince dying, you had David Bowie dying, you had George Michael dying, you had Leonard Cohen dying. It was just a year where all of the dominoes of the great rock gods that I worship just fell. And I basically started writing the book as a way to sort of process my grief about losing so many wonderful artists in such a short amount of time. But I focused on Prince specifically because out of all of the artists that I grew up loving, Prince was the one that I had the most emotional connection to. I saw him as almost like a Jiminy Cricket character.
mm,
You know, I looked at his music as sort of a map for my life in a way because I was trying so hard to just get through my childhood and adolescence. Because
yeah,
growing up in a abusive family, I had a lot of trauma, and so the book was a way for me to process trauma and grief. And I wrote about everything. Just how I tried to really focus on how Prince had saved my life, literally in some ways, and just focus on the fact that I think my relationship with Prince's music goes beyond the typical
yeah.
fan.
I would say so. Yeah, that definitely comes through. Yeah, like you say, there's an awful lot of highs and lows, but a lot of challenges that you go through in your life. Yeah, and one way that does come up is you in the book at certain points in your life you find yourself asking what would Prince do, and yeah, there is an awful lot in there. I just one I guess one topic would be the sort of your experiences with dating and internet dating, especially via
Yes.
prince.org. It's one of the more amusing parts of the book, I would say. Could you talk a little bit about your experience and any advice to anyone else?
I certainly have no dating advice to give. Uh, just like my partner just laughed. I heard that. Honey, do I have any dating advice to give? No, I have no
No.
dating to give. But no, you know I wrote about those relationships, those times of my life and everything, because of the fact that Prince really did affect every part of my life, including my love life. And it was, I'm glad I went through all those experiences, as crazy and as sad as some of them were, because it did, for lack of a less cliche term, build character. I certainly I like to think I've learned from some of the dating mistakes I've made, and I certainly
Yeah, there's a few characters who pop up as maybe mistakes, definitely.
Yes.
I think around the age of 22, 23.
Yes.
But they do make for good anecdotes, definitely.
Yes, they do. One of the women who I used to date actually does know that she's in the book,
Yeah.
and she's actually quite flattered by it. She said that well, it was Sabrina. Sabrina
Okay, yeah.
Sabrina was the one who I actually reached out to her and I told her, I should probably tell you you're in a book, and she read it and she liked it. She said, well, you told the truth. I mean, you were kind of a bastard, so but yeah, the response so far has been pretty good, so it's good.
That's great. That's really great. I think, and another aspect of the book would be your career trajectory is insane in some ways.
Yeah.
What's your relationship with those experiences now? Are they things that you look back and wince a bit, or are they part of the ups and downs in the journey that takes you to where you are now?
That's a good question. When I look back at my career trajectory, I look back at it with a sense of bemused pride because I know that I've had some very, very insane jobs, and the mayor of Toledo. I actually just met with my shrink yesterday, and we talked about PTSD and everything, and I definitely got PTSD from working at those crazy jobs.
I can imagine completely. Yeah.
Would I do it again? Probably because as a writer, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's the mayor of Toledo. Yeah, I've been in therapy for a while as a result of that and everything. I'm still in contact with ICP. They still do. We're still friends.
That's great. That's really great.
They actually did a commercial for my book. Actually.
Oh, brilliant!
I don't know if you saw that or not, but they did. They did a commercial for my book.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask about ICP because I guess, with your upbringing and Prince and David Bowie, the artists you find an affinity with seem to be kind of outsiders, very different to
Yes.
the mainstream. And ICP, I guess, are another step further
Yes.
in, at least from my perspective. Maybe at this point, it might be worth if you could give a brief description to sort of think with the UK student audience. Not so many might be familiar. I know some will definitely know ICP, but Insane Clown Posse, Juggalos. What's all that about, and who are they?
Yeah, absolutely. Insane Clown Posse. They're from Detroit, Michigan. They stole some platinum albums back in the '90s, and their main shtick is they're rappers who paint their faces up like clowns, and their main gimmick is that they spray this cheap cola called Faygo, and they throw it all over their audience.
Yeah.
And so they're cut from the same cloth as like Gwar or kind of another shock rock act like that.
Yeah, I guess we could call it horrorcore. I think some people use that phrase.
Horrorcore,
horror rap.
yes. Yeah.
Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope being
That's right.
core members. It's a strange sort of family, and you were very much part of the core of that when you're working at Psychopathic Records. You were right in the midst of that. So was that somewhere again where another stressful job which leads to some issues and causes you some troubles, but at the same time almost a separate family by the sounds of it, I imagine, in some ways.
Yeah, it was. I look back at my years with ICP with a great deal of affection. I do, because by working there, I got to work with juggalos all over the world, and that was great. The Juggalo fan base, they call themselves a family, and they really are, because a lot of these people who make up the Juggalo fan base, they come from broken homes. A lot of them come from just really, really, really messed up lives. And so to many of them, being a Juggalo is like the only family they have, And so the kids who grew up in foster care, the kids who never really had much of a chance at succeeding in life, those are the ones who generally become Juggalos, because of the fact that they identify with the outsider element of ICP. Most of the stuff that ICP sings about is they attack conventions in society like rich people. They don't rap about having bling and having gold, having money and having women because they don't have any.
Yeah.
it's a celebration. It's a celebration of being poor. It's a celebration of just being a scrub, as they call it. And you know, coming from a pretty dysfunctional background myself, I was just drawn to that. I was just drawn to the fact that here's a group that was kind of like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You know, just I liked the craziness of it all.
Yeah.
You know, and I loved meeting fascinating people from around the world, and it was great. I'm still very, 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 very good friends with the guys, and Insane Clown Posse.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I'm really glad to hear that. Sort of one final topic I want to cover was sort of your relationship with writing, music and writing. Sort of where did they all start for you coming together, and where's that passion? What does it mean to you?
Well, I started writing about music when I was a teenager back in the early '90s. Actually, music has always been the force in my life that's got me through everything. You know, if it wasn't for music, I literally would not be here. I've had music save my life from suicide. I've had music, you know, from everybody from David Bowie to Leonard Cohen to the Pet Shop Boys. Just I've got a very, very wide variety of interests when it comes to musical tastes. But writing about it was just kind of came naturally because I grew up a stutterer. And when you grow up a stutterer, you look for ways to effectively communicate non-verbally.
Mm-hmm.
So I became a writer basically because when I'm writing on the page, I don't stutter. You know, people have no choice but to listen to me and listen to what I have to say when I'm writing. And writing about music was just became a passion of mine.
Yeah.
You know, and,
something that crops up in the book throughout. You publish, you know, the articles you're writing at the same time, and as well, it's worth mentioning to the audience the sort of the memoirs are littered with reviews and commentary on Prince's releases, tracking them with the events of your life. And
as Prince's career went on, I mean, I grew with his career. You know, I mean, as I grew, his career was going on simultaneously. So I tried to capture what was going on during that time in my life. You know, because every Prince album, I can tell you exactly where I was and what I was doing in my life when I bought that album. You know, every Prince album just meant something, and I tried to capture that and convey that in the book. You know, how important whenever I found out that Prince was coming out with a new album, you know, I mapped out. It's like, okay, do I have school that day? Do I have to? Are my parents going to be upset? You know, at me buying this?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think my book will appeal to anybody. I mean, you don't have to be a Prince fan to like my book. You know, I think my book will appeal to anybody who basically anybody who has any kind of special relationship with music. You know, I mean, everybody's got a favorite singer or favorite band, and then you have to think about it. How many times has that band saved your life? You know, like back in the '80s, you know, everybody was like, "Oh, the Smiths saved my life," or Duran saved my life. You know, I mean, we all have that one special singer or that special act.
Definitely.
Just gets us right in the gut, you know. And for me, it was Prince.
So, yeah, I think the book is a really beautiful way of sharing that. And really, I really enjoyed reading it, and it's been great to talk to you. I'm going to wrap it up here, but I just wanted to finish with a quote. Actually, I thought the Prince line, "Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today to get through this thing called life," is a great way of tying the two together. So thanks a lot, Jason. It's been great.
Well, thank you, David. I really appreciate your time, and thank you so much. This has been great.
Okay, take care.